we want to look at the test command in Stata, which is a post-estimation command. We use this after running the regression. Once we've run the regression, then we can use this to perform f-test. So let's see first how we can use the test command to perform an f-test to test that sum or all slope coefficients are zero, right? So we want to test, maybe we want to test whether one particular slope coefficient is zero, whether two slope coefficients are jointly zero, whether three slope coefficients are jointly zero, or whether all slope coefficients are zero. So for this, we're going to use the auto data set in Stata, sys use auto. So we'll use the auto data set in Stata, and here we are regressing price on MPG, weight, and length. So now say we want to test whether the coefficient of MPG is zero. So we want to test whether beta 1 is equal to 0. So if you want to do this using the test command, so we want to test whether beta 1 is 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to write test MPG. We're going to write the name of the variable whose coefficient we want to test is equal to 0. So Stata will provide us the p-value to do this test. Right, so recall. So now over here, something to note is the results of each linear regression automatically includes, you can see over here, for each independent variable, MPG, weight, and length, a two-sided t-test on the null hypothesis that the true coefficient is 0. You can see over here, we already have a two-sided t-test whose results appear over here. And this is done on the null hypothesis that the coefficient of MPG is 0, coefficient of weight is 0, coefficient of length is 0, and this is the intercept term is 0. Right, so basically, Stata automatically is already providing us in the regression results when we regress price and MPG, weight, and length. In the regression table that we get in the bottom, Stata is already providing us the results of a two-sided t-test on the hypothesis that each of these coefficients is individually equal to 0. Right, so if you notice that using the t-test, we get the same p-value that we would get from the table that Stata provides us. Right over here, the p-value associated with testing the hypothesis of the coefficient of MPC is 0.305, and the p-value that we get using a test command is also correct to 3 decimal places 0.305. So if you just want to test whether coefficient of a single independent variable is 0, then you don't really need the test command because Stata automatically does provide you the results of a two-sided t-test on the hypothesis that each coefficient is equal to 0. And the f-test, and here you can notice this is a t-test, this is the f-test. Why are they the same? Why are the p-values that you're getting from them the same? That's because the f-test result is the same as the result of the t-test for the one variable case, right? For one variable case, the t-test result is the same as the f-test result. So that's why the p-values that you get using the test command and from the automatic regression table, which includes a two-sided t-test, are the same, right? So for like one independent variable, Stata does automatically provide you the results. But if you want to say test whether the coefficient of two independent variables is simultaneously 0, so we want to say we want to test whether the coefficient of MPG and weight are both 0, right? So in that case, we want to test whether beta 1 is 0 and beta 2 is 0. Then in that case, we will have to do a f test using the test command. This is where the test command becomes more useful because if you just want to test whether the coefficient of a single independent variable is 0, so then the automatic regression table provides you those results as well over here, right? The p-values that you're going to get from this are the same that you'll get using the test command, right? So over here, right, so over here, if you want, but if you want to test whether coefficients of MPG and weight are both simultaneously 0, so in that case, we will have to use the test command and we'll write test MPG weight, right? So we'll write the name of both of the variables whose coefficients you want to test are simultaneously 0. Over here, Stata will provide you the results for this. Similarly, if you wanted to test whether the coefficients of weight and length are simultaneously 0, so you could just do test weight length. Right. And so this was like the first thing that you did was you wanted to use the test command to test some or all slope coefficients as 0. So you might want to test whether one particular slope coefficient is 0, whether some slope coefficients are jointly equal to 0, or all slope coefficients are jointly equal to 0. It also allows you to test any linear hypothesis about a beta coefficients. Again, the key word is you're testing linear hypotheses. So for example, let's look at the same example. We wanted to test the coefficient of weight is 10, not 0, right? So you can use a test command for that as well. You do test weight is equal to 10, right? So Stata will test this. If you want to test whether if the coefficient of MPG and weight sum to 0.5, we can do test MPG plus weight is 0.5. If you want to test that coefficient of MPG and weight are the same, we could test that as well as test MPG is equal to weight, right? So here with the test command, we just need to specify the name of the variable whose coefficient we want to test that hypothesis on, right? So you can use the test command to either test some or all slope coefficients as 0. You can use this to test that any linear hypothesis about your, you can use this to test any sort of linear hypothesis about your beta coefficients.